Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Protein and Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Mancini, and this is a special Father's Day episode. So, first thing first, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Whether you're a biological father, a stepdad, a mentor, a man standing in the gap, as they say, your presence matters more than we often get told sometimes. More than most of us even realize in the moment. The impact doesn't just shape our children, it shapes our communities. It echoes for generations. There's that phenomenal quote from the movie Gladiator. What we do in life echoes in eternity. And to remind you of that, I want to share a story today. It's a bit of a personal story, so I'm doing my best to get through this. It's about two 11-year-old boys. The first, 1940, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. An 11-year-old boy climbs behind the wheel of a battered delivery truck. He could barely see over the steering wheel. He had to sit on the edge of the seat to have full control of the pedals. But he found a way to fulfill his task of driving 260 miles round trip to make delivery to Cleveland, Ohio, and return to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that boy's name was Richard Mancini. He was my grandfather. At an age where most kids today are held captive by screens, he was delivering freight across state lines. Not because it was cool, not to impress his friends, but because his family needed him to be a man and to provide at the age of 11. And he wasn't alone. That era, the tail end of the Great Depression and the lead into the years before World War II, forced boys across America to grow up fast, boys and girls. This was the soil that produced the greatest generation. Not because they were born different, but because hardship demanded greatness from them. And my grandfather, he was just one of the many who stepped up. Because when the Great Depression smacks your family in the teeth, you don't get asked if you're ready. No. You get pulled out of school and you get to work. Now, fast forward 48 years to 1988. Another 11-year-old boy sits alone in a sterile room with cinder block walls, painted a calming beige color, and a huge steel door that locks from the outside with only a 4-inch by 4-inch window offering any proof that the outside world still exists. No fresh air, no weather at all, and no place to run. A perfectly controlled environment looking to control him. That boy was me. I wasn't behind the wheel of a truck. I wasn't bringing home paychecks. I wasn't learning anything except that I was too much. Now, I wasn't an angel. I want to be clear about that. I was an 11-year-old boy that could have used some attention and direction from his dad. But a doctor had determined that the ward for troubled teens at St. Francis Hospital was the right place for me. It was typically for 13 to 17-year-olds, but my issues were deemed more advanced than the children's ward could handle. So, while in there, we had classes and activities geared towards teaching us how to integrate into society and how to be less troublesome. In the evenings, we would have social hours where we would come outside of our rooms and socialize, but the 15 to 16-year-olds in there were scary as fuck to me, if I'm being honest. So I chose to stay in my room. I didn't want to come out. There was a penalty for that if you weren't going to socialize. So for that, the treatment was time in solitary. So we have the same bloodline, same age, two 11-year-old boys, 48 years apart. One given an objective, no specific directions, just hey, we need you to go get this done. No specific instructions. The other, being told his nature is troublesome and it needs to be repressed. Luckily, my story didn't end there. I came to live with my grandparents after that. My grandfather became the man I respected most growing up. A Marine, a truck driver, a man who always had a story, a joke, principle to teach. He, among others, showed me what it meant to work hard and to live with honor. And here's the thing. He wasn't perfect. He was flawed, just like all of us. But he showed up. And now, here I am, years later, raising kids of my own. And I think about both those 11-year-old boys every time I look into those kids' eyes. I understand that there's infinite possibilities between those 2 points and beyond those 2 points of where those two 11-year-old boys were. And I don't want them at either of those points. I want to be clear about that. I don't want them at 11 years old having to drive a truck to earn a living, or most certainly don't want them locked up. But if I had to choose which one I want them closer to, yeah, it's being dependable. Because legacy isn't just something we leave behind. It's something we live right now. I want you to hear this, especially today, especially this weekend. Your kids don't need a perfect father. They need a present one. They don't need you to have all the answers. They need you to stay in the room when life gets hard. I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to anybody else. They need your example more than they need your advice. They need to watch you wrestle with life and stand back up when you get knocked down. They need to see what it looks like to lead, to love, to repent, to protect, and to pursue purpose. When you're a dad to young kids or to grown adults, you're still modeling what manhood looks like every single day. And if you didn't have a strong example growing up, if you were more like that second 11-year-old boy, angry, lost, hurting, I want to tell you this. You're not stuck. You're not broken. You're not disqualified, and your past does not define you. You have the power to change the story, to break cycles, to build legacies, to raise sons and daughters who don't have to heal from their father, and who know what real strength looks like. So today, I salute all the fathers doing the hard work, the quiet work, the unsexy work, the underappreciated work of showing up every day. You're not just raising kids. You're raising the next generation of leaders, protectors, providers, and legacy builders. And if nobody else has told you lately, you're doing important work. Keep going. Happy Father's Day, y'all. And if this hit home for you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop something in the comments. Share this with somebody you think might need to hear it. Another dad, anyone. Till next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and stay present. Get strong and do stuff, y'all.